The first thing I want to do is sketch out a couple of mushrooms, and I want them to be nice and big, and I want to leave space between them so they aren't overlapping. The bigger I make them, the more details I can draw on them. I'm gonna do 3 different ones here. And you could look up pictures of mushrooms to get ideas for different kinds of mushrooms and different shapes. I'm going to do a double one here. It's kind of attached. So after I sketch out my mushrooms, I'm going to make them into little houses. So down here on their stems that I made nice and big, I'm going to start sketching in some little doors and windows, and you might think about who lives in there. And don't forget, windows can come in all shapes and sizes. They don't have to be a square or a rectangle. Okay, so after I add my details, I'm going to kind of work on this top part. So I want to give this area, each shape, a different pattern or texture here. So I'm going to make some lines that kind of radiate out from the center of this oval, kind of like the rays of the sun, to make it look a little more 3D. And then on the top, I'll add some polka dots. And you could add any kinds of patterns here. Any different kinds of line or shape. You could do more than one shape too. Okay, so I am going to outline all of my mushroom with markers. And then I'm gonna go back and add some more color with crayon. So I will start by going over all my pencil lines with a marker, and I'm going to use lots of different colors. I'm using some kind of neon colored markers, but you can absolutely use anything you've got at home. Let's see. I want my mushroom to be super colorful. If you use lighter color marker, your pencil's going to show through. So if that bothers you, you could outline everything with a Sharpie, with a black marker, or you could also erase your pencil, make it really light before you trace over. Or you could even just draw the whole thing with marker to begin with. If you're not afraid of having some mistakes on there, that's okay. Mistakes are good, they help us grow. All right, so I'm just outlining again. I'm not coloring anything in just yet. I am going to switch to crayon, or you could use colored pencil. And of course you could do the whole thing in marker if you really wanted to. So I'm going to switch to crayons to color in. I think it'll make a nice contrast. So I'm going to color really lightly. And if you use a similar color crayon, like a warm color crayon, that would be in a yellow, orange, pinkish, reddish color, over another warm color, shouldn't change the color of your marker too much. And then if you use, of course, cool colors over cool colors, same thing. If you mix a warm and cool color, you may get some brownish tones. I'm going to try to go around my windows here. You could even draw little creatures, fairies, gnomes, animals peeking out through those windows like they really live there. I'm going to make this one just blank. I'm going to put some light in my windows here with the yellow. All right, So next, oh, I still need to color the top here. Can't forget that. My yellow crayon's kind of dirty. So after I finish coloring, I'm gonna cut this out, and that's when I'm gonna use my cardboard tube, which could be toilet paper tube, paper towel tube, wrapping paper tube, any kind of tube you have laying around. I'm gonna use that to make my mushrooms stand up. That way I can make a whole mushroom forest. So of course, after I do this one, I wanna go back and decorate my other two mushrooms. And you might actually want to decorate all of them before you cut them out, make it easier. And as you collect more tubes, you can make more mushrooms. So now I've got my mushroom cut out and I've got my tube. And you actually don't need to use the entire tube. If you have shorter mushrooms, you could just put pieces of your tube off and use the short pieces. Now, this won't work well with really flimsy paper. You want to make sure you have kind of sturdy paper, almost like poster board. And on this one, it looks like my stem is thick enough that I can use the whole tube. And I'm gonna have to use normal glue because our glue stick is out. So I'm just gonna put a really thin line. You could also use a glue stick. And when you glue it, you want to make sure you hold it on and put pressure. And you want to make sure that the tube is perfectly matched up with the bottom edge of your mushroom so that it's not peeking out the bottom and then it holds up. Now, like I said, you don't have to use the whole tube, especially if you don't have very many. You might cut it into halves or thirds and then use each piece. If you have thick paper, or you could even use cardboard. You could even use recycling, the inside of a cereal box or a cracker box. You could decorate it, cut it out, and it would be really thick. You would just need a tiny bit of tube there. So then I can stand it up on the tube and I can make a whole 3D forest of mushrooms.